yourself out. Okay, so try and get that done now.
Drew, before you mute everyone out, can you tell us where can we find your Facebook Live call?
Okay, so if you go to just my timeline, if you just go to Drew Innes on my timeline, so just go to Facebook, search for Drew Innes. You'll see that I did a 16-minute Facebook Live, and I put the transcript beneath it of that call, which pretty much sums up in a nutshell my feelings on the said regulators in the US and the said company that's having some issues at the moment. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
No worries at all. Okay. So now let's talk. Well, I'll get this call underway. Sorry. Oh, we are recording. Woo, cool. Okay. So good morning, everyone, or good afternoon or evening, wherever you're calling in from around the world. My name is Drew Innes, and I'm one of the founders of the Online Alliance. I'm also an independent business owner that goes under the name of drewinnes.com. For those of you that don't know me personally, and at this stage I actually will ask everyone, just mute yourselves out if you can, please. Just mute yourselves out. Mute yourself out, everyone. Why can't I see my mute control? Okay.
Drew, do an admin global mute.
Yeah, mute all. Okay, sweet. Okay, so you all should be muted out now. Okay, so again, just a little bit of an introduction. My name is Drew Innes. I operate under a couple of brands on the internet, and they are Seven Figure Mentors, drewinnes.com, and the Online Alliance. Just a little bit about my background, so you've got some context. I'm 55 years of age, married to my wife Lulu. We're happily married, like seriously happily married for 20 years, because I've got, I've invested a lot of time, money, and effort into our relationship, and I dare say we're going to be one of those statistics that stands the test of time. I've got two what I would like to consider well-adjusted kids that we're doing the best we can with. Levi, my son, is 15, and Avalon is 12. And we're just a sort of normal, everyday, regular family. I live in Manly Beach in Sydney, Australia, and we've always lived in Sydney. And my one true passion, if someone sort of said to me, what is it, the one thing that you're really passionate about? I'd have to say it's snow skiing. You know, snow skiing is in my blood. I was first introduced to it when I was 16 years of age, and I can proudly say I'm a self-funded skier, which means I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Anything that I wanted out of life, I had to go get. Reason being is I come from a dysfunctional family, probably like many of you guys, right? My parents were divorced when they were 12, and I'm going down the road of life, and there's a fork in the road when that happens for a lot of young kids. You can choose one road, which is off the rails, or you can choose another road, which is actually to, sort of get on with things and become the best that you can personally be. So I've had a lifelong journey since about 12, investing time and effort into personal and professional development. Yeah, so when I was around about the age of 18 or 19, it might have been, if I look at the timeline, someone introduced me to a tremendous book by the author Dennis Waitley, and that book's called The Seeds of Greatness. And if you are a parent on this call, if you haven't introduced that book to your children yet, just pop it on their bedside table or leave it lying around the house. And when they say, "Oh, I want something to read," you say, "Well, hey, look, do me a favor, pick up that book and start reading it." You will have done yourself the greatest favor, because if the seeds of greatness can have an impact on them like it had on me, then the world will be a better place. Reason being is, when I read that book, I realized that everything I wanted out of life really vested inside of me, right? And my responsibility, my personal responsibility, even from that young age, was to do everything within my powers to just simply be more, do more, and have more, right? And if, for the esoteric people on the call, we'd probably call that self-actualization. I believe in that. And I think self-actualization in the context of, I think universal principles and this whole concept of be more, do more, have more, just simply means you have to come from a place, a heart-centered place where there's no fear of competition. You have to come from a place where you truly believe in collaboration, right? You have to come from a place where it can truly be a win-win-win for everyone. And I've tried to conduct my life that way. I'm trying to raise my children that way, and I'm trying to do business that way. Yeah, I've always tried to do business. If there's one thing that my wife has accused me of throughout the years that we've been married, she says, you're too generous with people and your time, and you give people far too much rope to hang themselves and hang you, right? So, and that's sort of the nature of the person that I am. And so, I mean, they're things that I've been trying to curb as well. I'm a big proponent. If you've looked at any of my videos, read any of my texts, if you see my angle on anything, I believe we all have a responsibility to take personal responsibility for our actions and our results. Personal responsibility. And when I look in the mirror today and I think about where my life is right now, there are many aspects of my life that I'm not happy with, and I'll be the first to tell you. And as a result of that, I can't look outside of myself. I can't look outside of me. I can't look to my wife. I can't look to my entrepreneur community. I can't look outside of myself to the answers. I have to look inward and say, where did I go wrong? What can I do better next time? Right? And that's how I conduct myself. So every day I have this belief that if I can just get up today with air in my lungs, love in my heart, and have an open mind, then if I just aim to improve just 1%, if I can do something 1% better today than what I did it tomorrow, if I can be impactful with someone just 1% better than I did tomorrow, then the world will be a better place. And this is the way that I'm raising my children. And these are the types of beliefs that I want to identify in people that I want to surround myself with. All right. So just by a show of hands, does my message resonate with lots of you on this call right now? Do you feel the same way? Are you that person that, gets up every day and is grateful, expresses gratitude for what you have? And despite your current circumstances, are you the type of person that and I'm going to use some words here and then I'm going to define them, holds out hope for a better future? Are you that type of person? Yeah? Okay. So there's a couple of things that I just want to talk about. That word hope, I don't like it. And over the years, I've tried to remove it from my vernacular. And the reason being is because, as one of my mentors said to me, Drew, hope is not a strategy. Yeah, hope is not a strategy. And I know that there's a lot of people out there right now that are hurting and they're hoping, right? They're hurting and they're hoping. And there's one thing that you can be rest assured of here. Hope is not going to get you through this, right? I'd like you to shift that word to faith. I'd like you to shift the word to faith. If you've come onto the call right now, I'd ask of you to please just mute yourself out. Let me try again. Mute all. Okay, so everyone should be muted out. No?
No, everyone's unmuted.
You've unmuted us.
Okay, so I'd like you to change that word from hope to faith. And the reason being is, if you guys are entrepreneurs like I am, I'm hoping that you've also read, there's hope again, I'm hoping, I have faith that you've also read Chapter 4 of Think and Grow Rich. Chapter 4 of Think and Grow Rich is probably one of the most compelling chapters in that book. It talks about the whole concept of faith. And it does it not in a religious sense. I would presume that there's some people on this call that are deeply religious. You have your faith. You have your faith in your God, and I absolutely respect that. But when you hear the word faith from me, what I'm referring to is in my faith in my ability to focus on what I intend to do, right? And through repetition of thought, impress that into my subconscious mind, and then go about developing the skill sets to execute the plans that are required to achieve the very thing that I'm focusing on with faith and deliberate intent. There is no religious connotation to my belief in the word faith, right? So some of you might think, wow, he's talking about the God within. Absolutely I am, right? This is not a religious call, but I want to be clear on a couple of things here, right? Just like I spoke on the call yesterday, where I was bringing people, I was drawing their attention to a fantastic video that I watched many, many years ago and did a blog post on from Anthony Robbins, where he talked about certainty not being a feeling, right? Certainty not being a feeling. He talks about certainty is actually something that you create by the person that you become and the things that you do, right? So as an entrepreneur, right, that's living in turbulent times, right? Entrepreneurs, they have these epiphanic moments where they can see something that they want to become, or they can see something that they want to improve, or there's this grand idea that they want to materialize. So we jump on what I call the entrepreneurial roller coaster, and the only things that we have in our faithful backpack have to be faith, persistence, plans, develop skills, and all of this sort of stuff. If we pop hope in there, that's not going to help us, right? And this is where we find ourselves at the moment, on the entrepreneurial roller coaster. It takes a special type of person, and it takes a special type of partner, life partner, to get on that roller coaster with you, right? And, you know, some of my all-time industry legends are on the call here, Sue and Jerry Smart. They've been very impactful in my life since we first met many, 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 many years ago. And before I even knew them personally, I used to watch them speaking from stage and think, wow, how together are those guys? What a connected message those guys are, right? So it takes a special type of person and people to come together and actually ride this entrepreneurial roller coaster together, right? So for those of you that are doing it with a partner, I congratulate you, right? For those of you that are doing it alone, I just want you to know that you're not alone. You don't have to be alone in that entrepreneurial journey, right? Because my whole vision behind developing the online alliance, which I started 2 years ago and took my eye off the ball. I wanted full disclosure here, and I mentioned this to people honestly from my heart. If I have any regrets, if there was one regret, and regret is not a good human characteristic, but if there was one right now, I regret 2 years ago not living by my word, right? And many people that have been coached from me personally have heard me say, one of the hallmarks of an entrepreneur is that you finish what you start. You finish what you start, despite the circumstances, because the past can't be changed. The only moment that we have is the present moment right now, and the future is what we make of it. And 2 years ago, I had an opportunity to create a bigger, better, brighter future for myself and all of my alliance partners, and I didn't finish what I started. And that is if there's one regret, that is the biggest regret that I have, right? And some people will say, sometimes the present moment, like now, is the moment that you've been waiting for. That, you know, there's this magic to the universe, and maybe, just maybe back then, you didn't have the right set of circumstances, the people, you know, the products, the skill set, the whatever, right? One part of me says, yeah, I get that. The other part of me says, well, no, I don't get that, because I made a decision back then, one way or another, through my actions or inactions, either way, I was making a decision, right? And my decision back then was reprioritizing what was important to me. So my prioritization of my time, money, and effort took me down a path where I ended up following my passion project, buying ski lodges in Japan, renovating them, getting a traditional bricks and mortar business up and running. And I have to say, full disclosure again, I'm so grateful for that, because I have a passion project that I can continue to develop. The way that it can only be funded is through my entrepreneurial endeavors, because I need the time, money, and effort to live in Japan between November and March, right? And also what I'm building there is a lifestyle income producing asset. So I'm walking the talk of pure entrepreneurism and this sort of freedom lifestyle that we talk about. And I'm also building a legacy asset for my children. My children just think I am God at the moment for what I've done for them in Japan. They're like, holy crap, Dad, we can't wait until you kick the bucket and we take over the keys to the lodge. So there is a legacy project there that is an income producing lifestyle asset. My goal is to expand that out for the children, but let's get back to the important thing. What funds that? In the commercial world that we live in, what funds any of our higher goals and objectives for freedom and flexibility to live out on our life on our terms? What funds it? The thing that funds it is the value that we represent in the marketplace and what they're prepared to pay for it. Because the last time I checked, we still lived in the commercial world. Money was the means of exchange, notwithstanding we now have cryptocurrency. So I still need to personally and professionally develop every day a skill set that the marketplace sees value in and is prepared to pay for, so I can generate the type of income to give me the time to focus on building my passion project, my legacy project for my family and their children to come. Does this resonate with you guys? Does this really resonate with you guys? So, because I want to talk about, I'll give you the history lesson again for those of you that are understanding why I'm even on a call like this. How do I come to be here? Well, the reality is everyone has a story, right? And my story is not one of those rags to riches or anything like that that's typically marketed. And I can talk to you about the marketing angle around that, and we'll probably get into that in our marketing training calls. But my story is a genuine, heartfelt story. You know, I've been a traditional business owner in bricks and mortar businesses. I built a $50 million construction business. I built a finance company with over $1 billion, that's billion dollars worth of assets under management, right? I had a mortgage origination company that did all types of asset classes. I built a franchise finance network here for Elders Real Estate here in Australia. I've built an IT company. I raised capital at the height of the tech stock by getting on a plane with an entrepreneurial idea to create a tech platform for the construction industry. So I went and paid $30,000 out of my own money to get a professor to work with me to write a white paper so I could get on a plane and go and meet venture capitalists in the US in Silicon Valley, raise capital to develop a tech platform for the construction industry here in Australia. Many people said my thinking was ahead of its time. Many people said that. And you know what? Commercially, my thinking was ahead of its time, because we raised a little bit of capital, but not enough to get the ideas off the ground. Off the back of the work that I did, two young McKinsey consultants jumped on that bandwagon and actually followed the project all the way through. And today they have a global business that manages infrastructure projects on the very type of business platform that I'd conceived for the Australian construction industry, right? So I'm an entrepreneur from a traditional background, absolutely battle scarred with what said business and said owner of that business is going through at the moment. I've been through that too. I've liquidated a $50 million company. And at this point, I could say, through no fault of my own, but then I wouldn't be taking personal responsibility for that. Yeah. So there obviously was things that I should have been doing better to protect my company's interests, from morally bankrupt property developers and clients that didn't want to pay. So there's a whole war story there as well. If I stripped down bare naked, you'd ask me, what are all of these scars, right? And the women would probably leave the room, right? Because Lulu reckons I've put on a good 15 kilos from when she married me. So you'd probably all leave the room. But the point that I'm making is I'm not a flake. I'm not a flake, a battle-seasoned traditional business owner. And as far as my story goes, my life change moment onto the internet came when my mother was diagnosed with terminal breast cancer. So I wasn't looking for money. I had money. I had a well-adjusted family. We were living in Manly. I had half a dozen properties in my portfolio, and my mother was diagnosed with terminal breast cancer. I was running my finance business from offices in the heart of the financial district in Sydney. I was negotiating a buy-in with one of the biggest finance businesses in Australia at the time, Orco Finance Group. You can go and look up their history. They were actually negotiating to buy Qantas at one point in time, and I'll never forget this day. I was sitting at the boardroom table and I got a phone call from my sister, and her voice was wavering, and I said, "What's up, Lisa?" And she said, "I've got some terrible news, Drew. Mum's been diagnosed with breast cancer and it's terminal." Yeah. So everyone has a story. This is no embellishment. I got up, looked at my partners in the boardroom and said, "Guys, I have to go. I don't know when I'll be back. Here's the keys. I'll talk to you soon." Right. And the rest is history. What happened then over the course of the next 3 to 6 months was I exited that business and I started learning skills that would allow me to work from home. I'm going to try and find a photo of me sitting in the lounge room of my mother's apartment in Northbridge, not too far from where I am right now, while she's in bed and I'm there feverishly working away, trying to figure out how to do Google PPC, how to do WordPress to build a website, how to start writing email copy. This is my starting point. She's in bed, I'm providing hospice type care, and I'm in her lounge room trying to figure out how to work off the internet. Why? Because time was the most precious thing to me, and I wanted the freedom and flexibility to be able to work from home on my terms, but still get some income coming in so my family were accustomed to the standard of living that we were accustomed to. And what happened in that first 12 months is I was bit by what can only be described as the IM bug. The IM bug. Do you know what that stands for? The internet marketing bug. Once that thing bites you, there's no turning back, right? And many of you have probably experienced that. You have the entrepreneurial seizure. You come in here, you start developing some early skills around marketing on the internet, and it takes a hold of you. It becomes all consuming. So I became that guy I just locked myself away. I could do this 24/7, 365, no questions at all. Why? Because I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed the time learning things that I'd never learnt about. I kept dreaming of imagine what the world's going to be like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when this thing called the internet gets a hold of everyone. I can remember back then, just in 2009, guys, and it's not a long time ago, it's only 9 years ago, I was talking to people going, what's this thing called Facebook? Do you think that's ever going to amount to anything? Has anyone done that? Can anyone recall having a conversation like that back in around 2008, 2009? And there's these words dripping out onto the internet talking about social media, and you're looking at this application that connects friends and you're going, what a complete waste of time. That will never result to anything in business. Yeah. So I've been there in the trenches, grinding it out, and I wasn't grinding it out for the sake of grinding. I was grinding it out because I was literally immersed in the present moment, thinking, I just want to hone these skills. I want to hone these skills, hone these skills, hone these skills. I had no idea what I was doing. And then I found a mentor. I found a mentor and a coach, and he's still my mentor today. I'm not going to mention his name because some people love him and some people hate him. That's irrelevant. But there's one thing that my mentor said to me, and I'm going to say it to you, and hopefully it's as impactful on you as it was on me. He said, Drew, if you learn to develop some skills in marketing on the internet, and you improve the way that you connect and communicate with people in an authentic way, you will never worry about money ever again. That's what he said to me. And I thought about that for a moment, and it was like a light switch was turned on, right? And I said to him, well, tell me exactly what you mean behind that. And he said, whoever came onto the line, please just mute yourself out. We'll have to get a admin. Elise, next time we come into this room, you're the admin. Please mute yourself out, everyone. So I said, can you give me some words around that, just so I understand what is your deeper meaning behind that? And he said, Drew, think of it like this. It's very early days of the internet in terms of how people are working remotely and using it for business. He said, do you believe that the internet is going away? And I said, no, I don't. I think that this is going to be the greatest impact on humankind that we've ever seen. Whoever's making that noise, please mute yourself out. Why can't I do this?
I think it's Kelly. Kelly, you're not muted.
Mute all. Okay. So he said, do you think it's going away? And I said, no, I don't. And he said, okay, so the internet is not going away. He said, do you believe that the internet is going to create untapped opportunity and potential moving forward? And I said, yes. And he said, do you see a time where any company, product or service can be marketed over the internet? And I said, yes, I could, because that sort of time is right now, where the early pioneers somewhat. And he said, okay. And he said, so let's talk about you. Let's talk about if you take the time to develop skills in connecting and communicating with people, right? So if you can connect and communicate with people in an authentic way, right? So you can have real trust, influence and persuasion, not over them, right? Not necessarily over them from a controlling perspective, but if they see you as a trusted advisor, right? So they're somewhat influenced by you. Can you imagine what freedom and flexibility that is going to give you as an entrepreneur? And I'm like, I can, and that's exactly what I want for my life. I want the ability to have the freedom and flexibility to work anywhere that I want on my time schedule, anywhere in the world. And I want to surround myself with good people. And being the heart-centered person that I am, right? And not because I've studied NLP, but because I do have this real empathetic streak to me, which my wife still considers is quite a weakness that I have to work on. I'm like thinking, if I can develop skills and have influence and persuasion over people in the right way, and I can learn how to market, then that is the ticket to true financial freedom, because it's going to allow me to pursue self-actualization. It's going to allow me to become sovereign, right? And I haven't spoken about personal sovereignty. There's a movement that I follow called Sovereign Man, and it doesn't exclude women only. So, but if you're somebody that truly is in the pursuit of what I can only describe as personal sovereignty, it may be something that you might want to look into. But for me, personal sovereignty means I've developed skills that vest in me, they go where I go. I have developed skills that allow me to have, in the right way, influence and persuasion over people, whether that's verbal, written, or in any way that I choose to communicate. That would be marketing, yeah? In any way that I choose to communicate with marketing. And therefore, if I go and get some really good global international advice on how to protect myself from a corporate structure perspective, from a financial perspective, from an asset protection perspective, then I should be, all intent and purpose, one step closer to being a global citizen. Having the freedom and flexibility to work anywhere in the world, make money any way that I choose that's legal and ethical, and have that money arrive anywhere in the world legally that I choose for it to go. That's personal sovereignty. That's personal sovereignty. Now, what's happening at the moment is we're all witnessing, or many of us are witnessing, some personal hardship right now, or we think we're going to, because we've got all of our eggs in the one basket, right? Many of us, and for many of us, that's only because of really shitty timing. You had the entrepreneurial seizure, you're about to get started, you're on the entrepreneurial roller coaster, you've made that commitment to invest time, money, and effort in your personal and professional development. You're on the pathway to developing skills that allow you to market effectively and communicate better. You're at early stage. I talk about the 5 phases of growth, from, you know, beginner to intermediate to experienced to advanced to expert. I talk about all of that on some of my material, because I want people to understand that you are going to go through 5 stages of growth. If I was talking to a traditional business owner now, what I would be saying to them is, think about what it's taken you to go from where you started to where you are today. Your business went through 3 stages of growth that are usually defined as infancy, adolescence, and maturity, right? Now, there's only a very small amount of traditional businesses that last between 10 to 20 years that reach that maturing phase. Most small businesses in the infancy phase, and let's call that infancy, for many businesses, they can be in infancy for 1 to 3 years before they transition into adolescence. If they're in infancy for 5 years, chances are they're out of business. Chances are they're out of business, and probably, if they don't know it, sometime soon. If they've transitioned into adolescence between 3 to 5 years, chances are the next 5 years will see them undone. So there are very few traditional businesses that stand the test of time beyond 10 or 20 years, because they haven't been able to successfully make that transition from infancy to adolescence to maturity. So when I think about where all of we are right now in our entrepreneurial journey, we're somewhere in the 5 stages of growth, some just getting started, some were literally just about to launch and take off, and we all feel very much like the rug has been pulled from underneath us. We need to change that. And the only way that you can change that is based on the decisions that you make right now. I see it this way. People are going to start falling into 3 broad categories. There are going to be people that are just so paralyzed in fear and doubt and confusion that they're going to fall out of the industry, and they're going to extinguish the entrepreneurial flame that they were feeling, and they're going to go back and rely on a steady job, right? That's what some people are going to do. That's one category. The other category is there are going to be people that haven't extinguished the entrepreneurial flame, but they're still paralyzed in fear and doubt and confusion, and they're going to sit idle, and I call that dying on the vine. There are going to be people that are going to fall into that category, and there are going to be people, and I'm hoping you are those people, the people that are on this call right now. I'm hoping you're the ones that are going to dust yourself off and go, you know what? I am never, ever going to allow myself to be in this situation ever again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue my entrepreneurial pursuits, and I'm going to continue to invest time, money, and effort in my personal and professional development. And I'm going to continue to expand my business interests so it's a true multiple stream of income business outside of any one ecosystem, and that you are going to surround yourself with people that share the same common goals and objectives and that are here to love and support you in the journey, right? And that through your diligence and persistence, right, towards those higher goals and objectives that you have, that you find a way to make this happen. If I was to go esoteric on you now, right, with some of my personal universal beliefs, I would say to you, I honestly believe we can't have been given the thought and also not everything inside of us to execute on the idea that we have. So what I'm saying to everyone here is, despite your current circumstance, if you had that entrepreneurial seizure, you also have everything inside of you and can go and organize the resources necessary to achieve whatever those higher goals and objectives are. But if you stop now, you will never, ever, ever know, right? So that's what's at stake here, right? So now 10:43. I've got kickoff coming up in 15 minutes. I'm happy to. I was asked by some of the initial founding members here in the Online Alliance, some of the coaches and affiliates that have rallied with me just more recently since this unfortunate situation with said company. I was asked to keep this call to being something that was really relevant to people about, you know, the spirit of entrepreneurship and mentoring, and that's how I think I've left it. I don't want this call quickly to morph into, well, let's go and look at the mechanics of the Online Alliance and what does the team site plugin have to offer and all of that sort of stuff. We can get into the mechanics. What I am going to do is I'm going to leave you with a heartfelt call to action, right? And that call to action is, go to our website. It doesn't cost you anything to at least make a decision now to align yourself with us. You just go to you go to the Join Now button. But what you want to do, here's what you want to do. Many of you have been invited to this call by people, right? So if you haven't already joined the Online Alliance through the person that invited you here to this call, and it's not a traditional affiliate program in that sense. What we do is we try to honor genealogy and all the rest of it, all of that sort of stuff, but I don't think about it in that context. So my call to action should be, get back to the person that invited you here, ask them whether they've already created their free, they've joined the Online Alliance for free, that they've got their unique link. They can then give you that so they can register for you. If they haven't, that's okay. Work together to get that done. If you've already gone to the Online Alliance and already joined for free, and you think that you were actually introduced to the Online Alliance or me through someone else, that's okay. Just shoot me a message, and Elise, who's my executive assistant, she's on the line here, my PA, I'd be lost without her. We'll make sure that we get all of that fixed up from our end, and we'll come back and confirm to you and show you exactly what we've done. All right, so let's make sure that everyone's comfortable here, that you don't feel that there's any shenanigans going on, whatever that looks like. So you've got a couple of ways, but that's a decision that you can make today, and it's a very easy decision. And the reason being is because it doesn't cost you anything. And then moving forward, we're going to resume to regular calls as quickly as possible and as early as next week. And we'll be holding calls to teach people the fundamentals of online affiliate marketing in a step-by-step nature. We're going to be doing a personal and professional development call. I've invited some guest traffic trainers to come in and talk about all things traffic. Next week is really going to be a week of operationally getting up and running again. So I would say to everyone, be patient. Just be patient and work with us, because what I would want to have happen by next week is that our call schedules have resumed. Everyone is in the online alliance. You're customizing your profiles. We're figuring out what independent affiliate offers you're associated with, so we can get those all programmed into the back office. Like I said, calls resume, trainings resume, and you've got something that you can immediately offer and start making money. One of the coaches on this call asked me, Nick Lord asked me, what is it that we can do immediately to start making money? Now, for mode members, you can, if you decide that you see value in becoming a VIP, which gives you lifetime access to everything that we have here, then there's going to be one price for disenfranchised mode members, because they've already invested a lot of time, money, and effort into their education already. And then there's just a straight affiliate offer here. The lifetime VIP membership of the Online Alliance, and getting access to all of our tools, resources, training, coaching, and all of that sort of stuff. Just broad brush, it's $997. It pays out a $500 affiliate commission, right? And here's what I'm proposing: that as we roll out that offer right now, that it be a direct sale. Now, many of you might not understand what that means, right? And this addresses the question that Nick asked me. Nick said, how quickly can we all start making money? Immediately. When I first got started back in 2009, the first direct sales business that I worked for was a direct sale, meaning you got paid directly by the customer, and then you remitted the wholesale amount for the VIP membership directly to the company. That's not uncommon in affiliate marketing either. So the answer is, how quickly could you get paid? If you introduce one person to the Online Alliance tomorrow, you can get paid tomorrow, because they would pay you directly, and then you would remit access to the system and all of our training to the Online Alliance, as you've got cleared funds. All right. So that addresses immediately people's concern about cash flow. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions around that? The most common question that I would anticipate is someone would say, oh, well, what happens if I don't have a means of collecting funds? What happens if I don't have a merchant account? Or what happens if I don't have a PayPal account, or whatever that looks like? Then we can do it through the Online Alliance merchant. We can do that, right? So I'm completely flexible here, how we do this to help people in this moment, right? Completely flexible. And for those people that don't have any merchanting capability, or you think that that's just too hard on your end to handle, that's okay. We'll merchant it for you, and I'll pay commissions the next day. All right, so everyone can be paid immediately. All right, if you want to participate in our VIP affiliate program. Now, call the calls. If you're not already in our private Facebook group, it's a closed group. You need to be in our private Facebook group, and the reason being is, from this point moving forward, all communication regarding the Online Alliance will be posted in the Facebook group, all communication. Yeah. So I need to get back to business as usual for Aya Lodge Matarao. There's my shameless promotion of my ski lodge in Japan. I need to get back to business as usual, and I'm promoting Aya Lodge on my private timeline. So I need to get back to business because I've had a few of my Japanese friends send me messages going, "Me not understand." They've tried to watch my video regarding said company, and they've come back and gone, what's all that about? And I'm like, don't worry, we'll get back to business shortly. Okay, so everything to do with the Online Alliance will be in the private Facebook group and the Alliance open Facebook page. Okay. If you have any questions at all, you can put questions in the chat. I'm not going to answer them now because I've got 9 minutes to get a coffee and get to the sideline. And that's a priority at the moment because Levi won't forgive me. He'll be looking on the sideline going, where's my #1 supporter? And I won't be there. I'll answer all of the questions. So if you've got any questions now, I'll leave the line open for another minute. Post a question in there. We'll export the text. I'll post that in the Online Alliance group. Elise will help me organise all of this. Best way to communicate with me is through messaging, instant messenger on Facebook, or if you're connected with me on Skype, in Skype. And whoever it was, I think it was Glenn Bolton. You are an absolute legend, my man. You introduced me to, is it Franz? Was it Franz? Did you give me the link on that?
Yes, Franz, F-R-A-N-Z. I've got 8 chat message rooms, Messenger, Telegram, whatever. You put them all into one and it just comes up with one application.
Yeah. I might close out the call just to give some people some value around that because, mate, that became life-changing to me last night.
And to me.
Where is it here? It's this little thing called Franz, and I've got all of my message systems queued up here: Skype, Messenger, WhatsApp, Slack, email, calendar, pages, Voxel. So I've got all of that, and it has been absolutely life-changing. So thanks for that, mate. Now let me get out of here. Close it down.
And Drew, talk to me when you can about organising that online form that you want.
Mate, it's already done, and I've put it in the Facebook group. So
okay.
yeah, so just let me get me back here. Sorry about that. So if everyone comes across over here we'll just be clear about how to join the Facebook. So you're going in, you're wanting to request access to TOA, the Online Alliance. So it's this here, facebook.com groups/the Online Alliance. It's a closed group. You should still be able to search and find it, but not see the content. You want to get access to this. And then what you'll find here is I'll always post the details of the call coming up. Here's the affiliate income stream questionnaire, guys. So that will allow me to understand what different affiliate offers you have and make sure they're coded into the back office. So that's this questionnaire here. And every time I do one of these calls, if you're looking for it, that call is rendered to my Wistia account and it's loaded into the Facebook group also. So this very call that you're on right now will be rendered probably in a few hours when I get home and put into the Facebook group. And then if you're in that membership group, you're going to be able to watch it again. You're going to be able to pick up the link and send it to somebody that you think it may have a positive impact on. Alrighty? Make it a great rest of your day wherever you are in the world. I wish you sincerely all the best. It's the weekend is upon us. This is a great time for time out and reflection. Spend it with family, gather your thoughts. And if you'd like to lock arms with us, let's hit the ground running on Monday together. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well
Thank
done,
you, Drew.
mate.
Thanks.